Shalom Bracha, Vazeh Hashem. We're going to start now the second shiur, the topic of Argaman. Last year we spoke about the origins of the Pirish of Argaman as it's taught in yeshivas, in Chadarim, purple. We mentioned that the word purple is used until today in different languages for different colors. In France and in Germany today, purple means red, like the red light. And older generations, older days, the word purple meant different things. It meant blue, it meant orange, and purple and red. And we also spoke about the importance of knowing the origins from where the word comes from, because many times in many different words you'll come to different mistakes, not knowingly that what it's used in your place actually means something else in another place. So it would do different complications by not knowing the origins. And obviously what we have from that is that it's very hard to derive anything, or more or less impossible to derive anything from the word purple that we explain Argaman to be, because, like we said, all the generations it meant different colors, so it doesn't have any value to base our learning on. Okay, that was the first shiur, Siyat Shmaya. Kids and Nimritz. Now we would like to speak about the second shiur. Second shiur, we plan to bring the sources in Torah, in the Tanakh, Chazal, Rishonim, Achronim, for the pirish of the word Argaman. Just as an Akdama, I would like to make a small Akdama. When I say the word purple, I mean what is usually understood in Chadarim and the Malamdim, most adults, kids, this is what they refer to the color purple. This is purple. This is red. When in the Rebbe, in Chadarim, anywhere, adults speak about purple, they mean this color. You might find different shades of purple, let's say different colors, a little bit this, some type of purple, can't see it so good. Over here, see now some people will call this purple. Purplish red. This is not what we're talking about when in a regular conversation. This is what we call purple. Light purple, dark purple, and so on. This is the regular meaning of purple. This is the way I was taught, this is the way all my friends are taught, this is the way whoever I spoke to was taught. So that's what we call purple, and that's what I understood, and everyone who I spoke to understood Argaman to be. Now, we're speaking about orange. Orange, we find in the Rishonim, they speak about Zav, and they say has an atiyah le'admimis, which Zav is gold, which is a light orange, obviously. And we have to understand why does that have an atiyah to admimis. I'll try to just give an explanation. Over here we have red, we have a dark orange, light orange, and yellow. So, I think this brings out a little bit the direction the orange is heading to has some slight redness to it. That's what the Rishonim mean by Argaman, by Zahav, and other things, as we'll speak about it in the future. That's Shmaya. So some, would like to say it's that purplish reddish thing. I don't know. I was searching. I think you have to go scuba diving to find people speaking about this type of color under the rocks somewhere. It's very not commonly used. We're talking about simple colors, simple basic main colors: purple, yellow, orange, red. Those are basically what the Torah is talking about. Torah is not talking about some type of shade and some type of color which is unknown. This is famous colors all over the Torah, Tanakh, and Chazal. Okay, so that is the Hagdama. A lot more to speak about it, but now we'll get to the Yesod of the whole sugya, all the Chazal, Tanakh, Rishonim, and Achreinim. It says in Shir Hashirim, Perek Zayin, Pasuk Vov, Roishach olayich kakarmel v'dalis reshecha ka'argaman melech oser b'rehotim. What it means, the simple meaning is, the chassan is talking to the kala that your head is high up, like Mount Carmel. V'dalis reshecha roishach ka'argaman, and the dalis is, the Rishonim explain, is lashon meduldul, things that hang down from. Dalis roshech, the things that hang down from your head, which is here. Ka'argaman is ketzeva argaman. Rashi says, Dalis roshech al shem sha'kliya mudlas, because the kliya means the braids of the hair comes down. Mudla al goiva harosh. That's why it's called dalis roshech. So we're talking about the braids of it here, of the kala. Ka'argaman is beautiful. Ka'argaman. Melech aser b'rehotim. The Eibishter is Melech. The Eibishter aser is bound, is tied b'rehotim with some type of strings. That's what the pasuk is saying. That Hashem is tied to us, and He sees in us the beauty of Klal Yisrael. Obviously, it's in the mashal to Klal Yisrael. Rashi explains the mashal is supposed to teach us about the nimshal, about the naziris. We have to do with their hair, the kliyas of the nazirim. And the Eibishter is attached to us to all different mitzvahs, like the Torah, the pasuk is speaking about over there. Come on, let's get back to the mashal. That the mashal is talking about the beauty of Kala. Her head is high up. Roshach alech Carmel. Her hair is beautiful. Dalas reshach ka'argaman. The beauty as Argaman. Melech asa b'rehotim. Melech, the husband, is tied to her with ahava. Ma'yofa ma'na'am ta'ahava b'tanugim. Okay, that's the pasuk. So what do we see over here? The Torah is talking about Dalas roshech, the hair, the kliyos, the braids are the tzeva argaman. Now, we find in the Torah 3 different colors for hair. We find lavan and shachar and kibitzei talam shchoyres, koirev, and we find over here the third one is argaman. Obviously, we're not talking about purple hair because there's not such a thing as braids, which are hair, which are purple. That's out of question. Anything slightly, remotely like purple is. This pasuk should be sufficient to put that tiny to rest. And as we know, there's black, white, and there's red hair. We call it redhead. It could be blonde, or it could blonde. I don't know if we call it blonde, redhead, but blonde and gingy. This is all in the family of what I like to call orange, a mixture of red and yellow. Which this is what the hair. That's the third type of hair we find anywhere. There's only 3 types of hair: black, white, and orange, which will include blonde, like gold, or gingy. Or maybe we'll go back to that later. All this is part of Argaman. This is what the pasuk seems to be referring. That's number 1. Okay. Number 2. Chazal. Now we'll go to Chazal. In Medrash Rabbah it says, "Merkava Argaman ze hakapiris shehazav doimel Argaman." that the kapiris in the Beis Hamikdash, the zav was daimid to the color Argaman. Now, stam zav is orange with a red tinge to it, like gold. That's what gold is. We showed before. There's redder golds, but again, that's all in the family of Argaman, like the Torah, like the Medrash seems to be saying that Makaveh Argaman is referring to gold. So we have another source that Argaman is the Zav from the Kapiris. Another source, Argaman, the Medrash Mishnah Rebbe Eliezer says Argaman Doim L'Eish. That's in the Kanti Mechaz Yehuda. I'll bring it down. They also say the same thing, that Argaman is Doim L'Eish. Eish, the color of Eish is orange. It's just open a fire. There are a bunch of different colors in it, but the most dominant color of all of it is orange. So that would allude to what we're saying, that Argaman is the color of orange. The Zohar says the same thing. Argaman the Shvius, Argaman the Yantiv Shvius. The Zohar is going through all the Yom Tovim. It's them into all different colors of the Mishkan, and Shavuos is daimid to Argaman. Why? Because the Medrash says the Teresh Miksav was given then. Teresh Miksav, the Yisyavislei, was given on Shavuos, and also, but it says, and on this was said, Miminai Eish Das Lomai. The Torah which is given Sinai is Eish Das Lomai, and Da Ihu Argaman. The Mefarshim explain, Eish Das, Eish is the color of Argaman. That's why Argaman is Keneged the Yontiv of Shavuos. So we have the Mishnah Rebbe Eliezer and the Zohar that say that the Argaman is Doimid to Eish. So that would again allude to the color from orange. Another Medrash Rabbah says, Makaveh Argaman ze Hashemesh shehinoten lamalav hiroichiv b'makaveh imeir lo'ilam. The Makaveh Argaman is going on the Shemesh, the sun, which is high in the sky, and it goes in a chariot, imeir lo'ilam, and it lights to the world. Now the Gemara Bava Peidal Aleph says, Hai Shimsha, this sun, Sumkatihi, it's red. Teda, because Samkat Safra Panya, in the morning and by night, it's red. So that's how you know that the color of the sun is red. So the question is, what's about the rest of the day? This is why, the reason why the whole day doesn't look red, we can't, our eye, it's too strong for our eyes, so we can't see it. The Lashon Rashbam, our eyes can't process it, it's not so strong. The light of the sun is too strong, we can't look at it, so that's why we don't process the color. But it's more darker, then you can see the redness of the sun. And you don't have to be a genius. You go outside every morning and night. You'll see the sun, which is strong, fiery orange color, and that's what the Medrash says is Makaveh Argaman ze Hashemesh. And the Medrash goes on and says, everything grows and everything this and the Kshama comes down, and that's what that the Lashon Argaman is the Lashon of Hachana, to make in the Welt, everything should grow and this and the rain should come down. So the Medrash says another reason why the Shemesh is Argaman. But the first reason, that would be another reason, a pnimistic reason why Shemesh is called Argaman, because it makes the whole world for the Adam. But the first reason is Makaveh Argaman ze Shemesh, which is the sun shines to the world. That's the Shemesh, which is the color is like fire. And the Zohar we find twice. Zohar Kodesh Kad Osi Hay Boiker in the morning Amido Chad Va'amida Do, this light Do I Nor Benihira the class Gavna Merikmo the Agavona. It's color. We're going to hopefully see it different to maybe the next year. That it's three colors which makes up the color of Argaman. All the Sifrei Kabbalah speak about it, and the Zohar is saying that in the morning the sun comes up, you could see the color of Argaman in the sun. Another place it says the Siara Kadisha Shapira Ir Bechivr the Bechivr V'chol Gavnim Leitzim Ba Imrakman Ba V'iyu Kahis Shapira the Bechivr the Shemesh Mamish. The Siara is like the, again, I'm not like a Makobal, but that's these are the words. It's like the beauty and the calls it white. The Shemesh Mamish, the Hoshesh V'Argaman Levusha. It's referring to the Sira and the Shemesh as the color of Argaman. The pasuk Shesh V'Argaman Levusha is alluding to the Shemesh. Again, we have the pasuk. Mekav Argaman is the Shemesh, and the pasuk of Shesh V'Argaman Levusha is the Shemesh. So we see from these Chazal that the Shemesh is color of Argaman, which is orange and fire. Very interesting, we find in Chazal 3 places which a person that is very, very red in his face. We find red people. I'm not talking about red here. Some say maybe it's spoken red here, but the simple meaning is a very red person is referred to the word Argaman. We find twice in Chazal, and one in the Rambam that's Mefarish Chazal like that. So let's see. Medrash in Shir Hashirim, Zayin Vav, says, Dalas Rashecha Argaman, and the pasuk we started off. Reshech Halacha Kaman, Dalas Rashecha Argaman. Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter said, Hadalam Shebechem, even the Shvache, the poor people from you, Chavivim Alai Kedavid, are to me like David. Dalas Rashecha Argaman, the dalam of yours, of you, Argaman is like Argaman, David HaMelech. Argaman is a chashav, a symbol, so they're like David HaMelech. And Shinsky explains, he never passed this. Hine bepashtis hakavana mashadosh tevis ka'agaman, dalal sheshach ka'agaman, shehi David. Where is it coming, David? Ki David HaMelech, all of Hashalom, hoya admoini, shenem avihi admoini im yifei anayim. The David was, the pasuk says he was admoini, and his beautiful eyes. V'doime and Argaman is doime, v'doime la'Argaman shetzivei eder. David HaMelech was admoini im yifei anayim, so admoini is Argaman. When we're talking about David HaMelech's color, he was doing like Argaman. That's Dalas Hashechek Argaman. Even the simple people are like David, who was color was Argaman. So again, we have a pasuk that refers to the color of a red face, like Argaman. And another. There's another medrash that says Dalas Hashechek Argaman Zeh Malchus Beis Hordis. Ka'agaman shetzua Edom shahi mezera Edom. That he was, listen, Shir Hashirim, Hordis came from Edom, which was red. So that's why the Alas Hashech Argaman is going on Malchus Beis Hordis. We find by Esav, who had to be Eitzerish and Admoini, that he was also red. The Rashbam says that Mimas of Esav was Rush Balaz. Rush Balaz is gingy. The gingy color in Krebitz Beis Hill, it says below Shalom. He says he was Mevarik. He amda Meshefet Tzarfas. In Tzarfas, the language, Ruj means gingy. So the Rashbam explains why Yesh say Harishon Admoini is gingy. So when the Edom, they were gingy, they were the color of Argaman. So now we have Vidalas Hashech Argaman is like David or like Edom. Those are the two Chazal that we had Mefurish, that a red person with a very red look is referred to as like Argaman. There's in the warmer place we find in the Mishnah Bechoiris, Perek Zayin Mishnah Vav, it says Hakush, we're talking about the Mumim from a Kohen. Hakushi, someone that's a Kushi, a Kohen that's a Kushi. Hagichor, it's very red. Balafkon, someone that's very white, extremely white. Then Hakapach, someone that's tall and skinny, as they say, Alang Alaksh. He's not proportionate. Hananes and a midget, Vacheresh, Hashete, all these are mumim, psulim, ba'adam, kshem, b'behema, that these are possible for a kohen and the kasha of a behema. Now, so we have the first three was Hakushi, and a redhead, a person that's red, and a lafkan, someone that's extra white. So the Gemara says that in Bechoros Mem Heyam Beis, like, what's a gicher that's red, extra red? Gicher sumka is red. Rashi writes, what red are we talking about? Rouge. Just like the Rashbam said, Esav was Edom, was rouge. Rashi writes that a gicher from the mumim is rouge, which is gingy, as we said before. The Meiri writes that a gicher in Brachas Lamed Aleph on Beis, a gicher is admimis hatzov. Tzov is gold. Tzov is one of the Maris Nagoim. The Sefra says Ketav Nezav. That's how the Rishonim use it. Tzov and Zav is very similar, or maybe it's the same. And Vihi Admimas Hatzov means like a very reddish gold. Again, that makes sense, like a gingy or very, very strong, like fiery red. So, as of now, we have that one of the mumas on the Kahanim, if you have a fiery red face, like gingy, in that category. And you look in the Rambam, the Persham Shnais over there, he says, what's a gicher? Edom Kargomon. The Rav also writes it over there, and others bring it down. They quote this Rambam that a gicher is Edom Kargomon. Would come out again. We have three sources that someone that's extra red, fiery red face. Now, if someone that his natural coloring of his face is a fiery red, he would be considered Argaman. Would be the color of Argaman. We find that in Chazal by David. We find that in Chazal by Edom, and we find that over here by Gicher Mumei Kehanim. Rambam explains that's what Chazal mean. And so we have another three sources for Argaman would be a fiery red. Interesting enough, after finding these three people that are color of Argaman, fiery face, we find the same thing lahavdol by the Baruch Shalom. One of the Rishonim brought down Tosis Shalom in this week's Parsha, Parshas Truma, Chavav Lamed Aleph, on the pasuk Vasisa Pereches Tcheles Argaman Tla Shani. Ben Ishmael writes like this. It says, there was Arba Tzvoinim Hoy Bepereches. There were 4 Tzvoinim in the Pereches. Tcheles, Argaman, Tala Shani, V'Sheish. He goes on, and these 4 colors are in the color of the rainbow. And he goes on, V'chein HaShchina, Hi Yeshavas Achorei HaPereches, it's doimik to the Mara Keshes, whatever these words mean, the Shchina is doimik to Mara Keshes. And he says like this, Tcheles Keneged Livnes HaSaper. Kamara, I guess he's referring to the pasuk over there like Matan Torah that goes in Livnes HaSaper by the Rebbeinu Shalom. Tcheles is referring to the Shechina over there. V'Argaman Keneged the Ponov and the Eibishter. The Ksiv I Ponov Kemare Borak. So you see, the Mare Borak is like a red, like a lightning. That the Eibishter's face Kaviyachol is Argaman. V'Argaman Keneged Ponov the Ksiv Ponov Kamara Borak Talashani is Keneged Einov Kilapide Eish, and he goes on. So we see over here that the Panim from the Eibishter is Kamara Borak, like a lightning, and that is Argaman. So we have 4 sources that are red face, a fiery face, a Gigi, however you want to say it, is Argaman. David, Edom, Mumen, Kahanim, and Kaviyachal by the Rebbeinu Shalom. Interesting that we're putting David HaMelech, David Yefei Anayim, he was beautiful. It seems to be a mile of him, the Edom, Mashenkin, the Kahanim, it's a Mun. And Esav. But how do we is that a mum? Is that something that's beautiful? It's a shayla for itself. I have to say about it. I don't think we can get into it right now. Okay, we'll get back to it later. But this is what we see, that a red fiery face is Argaman. Now we'll go to the Psikta. The Psikta says, I'm going to quote it the way it's brought down from one of the Rishonim in Sefer HaZerchonis, Rachmi Eli. He lived in the beginning of Meya Elef HaChamishi, and this is the way he brings down the Psikta. You should, it says in the pasuk, you should make the Mishkan stand like I showed you in Bar Sinai. Over the front of everybody, Moshe Rabbeinu told the Eibishter, I don't know what the colors are. Tell me to make tchelas Argaman Shani. I don't know these colors. What are these colors? We all have these questions in these days. So the Eibishter told him, go to your right, look to your right. He turned to his right. He saw malachim that have wearing clothes of which look like the ocean. The Eibishter said, that's tchelas. Look to your left. Look to his left. He saw malachim that are wearing white clothing. This is sheish. And then he looked in front of him, and he saw malachim shein loivshim levush adam, red clothing. This is red like talashani. Now look to your back. Moshe Rabbeinu saw the malachim wearing clothes which are not red and not yorek. This is Argaman. Argaman is not red and not yorek. Stam yorek and shas, and seemingly in the Zohar, probably in the Medrash also, is yellow, not yellow and not red. That is Argaman. Not yellow and not red means orange. This Chazal would be mefurish that Argaman is orange, and this is the most clearest, detailed Chazal we have for this color. Now, the first time I put out my Kuntres Argaman, I actually had I left the Psikta with a major question. Why? Because if you look at the Psikta in front of us, the Psikta says something else. Our Psikta, our Gerson, the Psikta says just the opposite. It says he saw malachim wearing. Oh, where is it? He said, I saw people dressed with levush red ones. What do you see in back of you? Not red and not yellow. The Medrash over here we have in front of us actually says that Edom, the levush Edom is Argaman, and not red and not yellow is Talashani. So the Radal says, comes out from this Medrash, that it's orange. He actually uses those words. He says, Mikam Muchach Knas Rambam, Sha'Argaman hi Edom, the Argaman is red, Muvash Talashani, any Edom Kol Kach, and it's V'ilohi Nikra orange, or runs. So he says that Talashani would be orange, and Argaman and would be red. Okay. The only problem with this Medrash, so we have a series of Gersayis, but the only problem with this Medrash is that it says that Talashani is not Edom and not yellow. How is it possible? How on earth does Chazal say, on the example of red, Cholater Kula and Tanakh, in Chazal, the example of Edom is Talashani. Uh, Kichol Beis Rishonim, Kichita Shonish Sayach, and so on and so on and so on, and all over Tanakh. Tanakh especially. Every example of red is Talah Shoni. It's not even a question. Not even a question. How could Chazal go and say that Talah Shoni is not red? That is the example of redness. So, not only that, and then we go Argaman. We don't find anywhere in Chazal really that it says Argaman as Adam. All of a sudden over here it's starting to calling him Adam, Vasapis. But the main question is that how is it possible to say into Talah Shoni that it's not red? So, Lamaisa in the first Madura, when I brought this Medrash, I said, listen, the psik that we have is extremely unreliable. The Chida writes that it's full of mistakes. And we don't even have any kisyadas from it. It's just full of mistakes. That's what the Chadar writes. Other write the same thing. So it must be. That's what I wrote in the first Madura, that there was it was just they switched it by mistake, just like all the other mistakes, and it was supposed to say Talah Shoni by Adam and Argaman by Lo Yarek Lo Adam. Baruch Hashem, by the second Madura that came out, I already found the Rishon from 700 years ago, 800 years ago, that brings down Chazal. This is the earliest source we have for this Chazal. It brings down the whole Chazal, and he just switches around Argaman to Lashani. Oh, he said, V'ro malach Hashem levush, lo yivshon levush Edom, lezeh Lashani. And then when he saw Merulachim Shem Leishon Vush Lo Yadam Lo Yorek, they are Argaman. So Baruch Hashem Kivanti Elo Emes, and this is the most reliable source that we have, so that should do the job for us. Okay, so that's the Mekoros and Chazal. Now we'll go into Rishonim. It says in the Rishonim, Seifim Oila Afeila from the Chachmei Teimon, the Rishonim, V'Argaman Hi Atzeva. Argaman is the Tzeva Edom Hamamuzik B'Tzihivis. Argaman is the color, the red color, which is mixed with gold. Talah Shoni is the red and yellow. Talah Shoni is strong red. The Furish, this Rishon, that Argaman is orange and Talah Shoni is red. The Sefer Medrash Chayfetz, another Rishon from Taimon, says the same thing. V'Argaman tzeva Edom Tar, it's a red Edom Tar. Ma'urav b'tzav, mixed with yellow, which would be orange. Talah Shoni tzeva Edom az ha'edom. So we have two Rishonim from Taimon that write that Argaman is orange, Talah Shoni is red. Now there's a unique specialty with these Rishonim, is that they came from Taimon. This was their language. Argaman was a used word by them. By them saying that Argaman is orange and Talah Shoni is red, means that in their places this is what it was used for. Because if not, there was no question, they would say, they would talk about it. It's very, very important. From here would be a source. To me, it's a clear source that Argaman in his place was meant orange. I happened to have once a time with a friend that told me that his grandmother said Argaman is orange. I haven't found anyone else in today's time that such a thing, so doesn't really have any substantial weight. But Akapanim from the Rishonim is clear that in their time, in their period, Kufa, Argaman was orange, and that's what it was used in Arabic. Okay, now the Rashbam Shir Shirim. This pasuk that we spoke about until now, the Rashbam writes that, explains that Dalas Hashachak Argaman, he explains that the was a sign of ahava in the earlier generations was for the chassan, for the husband to tie the wife here with a tying of Argaman, some Argaman psilim, threads. And he says that thread that shows a sign of love, the clear saris which is tied with a psil shel Argaman, and the Eibush is saying that I'm tied to you with those psilim. So his lashon is that berahatim means psilei zahav, golden psilim, that psilim which they use to tie the woman's hair to show a sign of ahava, with that psil, that thread, that I am tied to you be'ahava. And his words are zahav. He clearly defines Argaman, the Rajman, the Shirashim Zayin defines Argaman like the color of Azov. Okay, in the Sefer, now we'll go to Achroinim. The Sefer in Asher says that he writes in Klayim Perik Tes Mishnah Aleph that I was marech in the Sefer Maaseh Choshev Perik Gimel Piskei Beis Hichachti B'Rayis Bruris. I proved that Bruris the Gerayis and Kovelas from Chazal Kedoshim that Argaman, it's a color Gavi Yorek Kamachubim Migivul Gavonim. It's made from 3 different Gavonim, Adam, Love, and Shachar. That through this Shemitaruvasam Yetza Gavan Yorek Ketavnes Azov. That the bottom line is that Argaman, he proved by Riches from Chazal Mekayris that Argaman is the color of gold. V'zeh Gavan Argaman K'd'isir B'navi Medesh Rabbah Shirashir Mekaveh Argaman Rabbi Omer Zeh Kaparish Zavadim Argaman, like we explained before. And so he learned, he understood, he proves it by Riches that Argaman is the color of gold. In Sefer Klayakar on Nacht, a different Mechaber, he lived in the times of Beis Yosef, that in Melachim Aleph Ches, he writes Argaman is doimel leShava. Shava in the Rishonim says doimel to Zahav. So now we have the sources of the Radvaz and the Goyin. The Radvaz writes Shir Shirim Migdal David Gimel Yod and Zayin Vav, the Argaman he memutza ben Adam lelavan. Argaman is in between red and lavan. The Goy in the Shir Hashirim says Sheish he lavan, to last shani he Adam, Shir Hashirim Gimel Yod. Sheish he lavan, to last shani he Adam. Tcheles he Shacher. Argaman is he Yorek, memutza Adam lavan, in between, just like the Radvaz, in between Adam and lavan. Okay, and the color in between Adam and Lavan would be, it has a few, could be, that's where it could be yellow, orange, or pink. The Pashat, the simple in between red and white would be orange. That would be the simple meaning, and that's what we saw earlier from the Radal when he says that in between, not loy Adam, loy Lavan, that is orange, and this would be the case over here also, that in between Memutza bein Lavan and Adam, which is Argaman, would be orange. So these would be the clear sources in the Achroinim that Argaman is orange. As we said, we are not going through every single source and every single kasha and every single, just trying to simply quote Mefurish and Mekaris that allude to the Argaman being the color of orange. So this would be the second shir. I hope to give the next shir would be about 2 places in halacha that we find that Argaman would be a red color and an orange color. And then we'll speak about the Zohar and the Shittas Ravid, one Shita, which also come out to be the color of orange. Shkoyach for listening. Kol tov hatzlacha.